So how do you troubleshoot a Facebook ads for motivated sellers campaign that appears to be working? However, when you dig further into the leads, you find that it's not really producing the leads that you want. So how is it that you can make adjustments so that way the campaign performs better? So in this video, I'm going to share with you a campaign snapshot and then go behind the scenes in terms of what the leads are and troubleshoot it, because at face, it does appear to have good lead flow and really good cost per lead. But when we dig down deep, there's some issues there we need to correct. So let's look at this here. These are a set of campaigns. If you notice that the budgets here are $12, and there's a budget here for $15, a budget here for $12, and I'll point you in the direction of the budget right there. That's the budget. One of the things that we do, regardless, is it's always better to work with a grouping of campaigns that add up to your target budget versus just one campaign only, because the way that Facebook works is that it's always grabbing a pocket of a particular audience. And so what happens, let me see if we can go ahead and look at this circle here. Let's say that this is your audience. You're targeting North Carolina, New Jersey, Texas. I'm just using these at random, in Florida. And you've got in this audience pool here about, let's say, 12 million people. Now, when you launch a campaign, Facebook is gonna take a sampling of that audience and then show your campaign to. And so let's say that you launch a campaign and it's gonna go ahead and target that part of that circle. And so what happens is that this could be where you launch a campaign and it starts to get amazing lead flow and the sellers are great. They're the right prospects. So that means that it latched on to a great audience. However, the opposite could be true. You could launch a campaign and then now it jumps into this particular portion of the audience based on, it's reading your ad, it's reading the transcription of your video. But it could be that this particular one is a dud. You end up getting nothing, ends up targeting a bunch of people that either you get a bunch of spam leads, you get no leads at all, etc. Now, what happens is that if you say target this here and you start that off at $100 a day budget, then what happens is you got to let that campaign run at least 2 days, which means that now you're out a couple $100 without any leads. And so now the way to do this is you want to start campaigns and try and have Facebook target and test a bunch of different pockets of audiences in that larger audience that we have of the 12 million people. And so the way it does that is that the only way you can do that is by creating multiple campaigns. So when you create multiple campaigns, what you end up doing is segmenting all the different audiences inside this big pool and giving yourself a better chance at a better opportunity. Now, the way you do that is you launch multiple campaigns. So you're going to have, campaign, and I'm looking at the screen as I write here on the screen, campaign 1, 2, 3, 4. And each of these, as you launch them, each of these campaigns will also have different budgets. So you might have a campaign at $20, another one at $15, another one at $12.50, another one at $35. This very much depends on the geography. We recommend targeting wide. However, if you were trying to target only one particular state, for example, then or a very small number of counties, and these numbers would have to be increased appropriately, right? So maybe $12.50 per day for a very small county really may not be feasible. Maybe the numbers, if you're really tight on a particular county, these numbers might be more like, 20, 25, and 35, right? So, but in this scenario, it's targeting wide. So keep in mind is that's why you see here these budgets like this, where we're targeting various budgets. Now here, the cost per lead is $23. Which would appear to be a great cost per lead. However, when we look at the stats, this is what we get. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to run Facebook ads, TikTok ads, and Google ads for motivated sellers without an agency, without having to pay expensive pay-per-lead prices, click the link in the description, get more information, because we have a program where we can set all this up for you, show you how to run it, and then now you can generate your own leads. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how we fix these. So 3 are in the area, which is good. 3 are rural, 2 mobile homes, 3 or 4 are buy or rent, meaning that the people thought that you were selling, the prospects are buyers, not sellers. So we're targeting motivated sellers. So in this scenario, the people that submitted the form thought you were either renting a house or selling a house. And then 4 would be no contact. So how do we fix these issues? So let's go to the first one, which is going to be the ones that are in the three that are in the area. Those are good. Then we have the three that are rural. Now, unfortunately, even though you might target a very specific market on Facebook, Facebook is very loosey goosey with their targeting. Meaning, if I'm targeting somebody if I want people in Fort Lauderdale, but if I have somebody that flies in from Ohio, travels to Fort Lauderdale, and leaves back to Ohio, that person in Ohio may see my ad about selling their property, and they fill out the form, and then I'm like thinking, wait a second, why am I getting a lead in Ohio? It's because people that Facebook showed the ad to somebody that they felt had an interest in Fort Lauderdale. So these two here were not, the first two here are fine. All right. The only thing that we can do on these here is that if we start to get too many completely out of the area, then we may have to pause and restart the campaign. But unless that's the case, then we're not really going to worry. We're not going to worry about these here, right? So let's look at mobile homes. Mobile homes, the only thing we can do on this would be to set up what's called a conditional lead form and or landing page. So it would be conditional landing page. I'll put LP for landing page. I don't know why this thing is so big here. So conditional landing page. So then what that means is that we're going to have a question. Well, it'd be conditional landing page, or it could be a lead form, because lead forms now allow us to do conditional formatting, conditional logic. So that means that if somebody then, as they come in and they're filling out the form, they're going to have a series of questions. And one of those questions, I'm going to delete this whole big circle here that I have here. One of these questions is going to be what type of property it is. So if they select on the property, if they select a mobile home, then if it's a lead form or if it's a landing page, you can do the same thing. You can ask a subsequent question, which is, do you own the land? Because if they don't own the land, then it becomes more of a motor vehicle sale, not a real estate sale. And then if they say no, then you boot them out, meaning that they're going to go ahead and be told, sorry, we can't help you. If they say yes, then they get a chance to continue moving ahead in the process. So that's really the only way to completely eliminate those. And you can do the same thing for listed homes. Now, buy or rent. So this problem with the properties where people think that the ad is for you offering a rental property is predominantly seen when you have images with houses in it. That's where we see that issue. So if you see too much of that, then there's only a couple things you can do. Personally, I don't like running ads with images of the house, like this, because now you could run these like this, but what you have to, there's a couple of nuances. Number one, if you get a lot of these, this will always bring buyers, right? So there's no way to completely eliminate it if you're using these type of ads. But the only other thing you could do is that if you get too many of these leads where people are asking about buying or renting a property, then the only thing you could do is you pause the campaign and then you restart another one. Because using the example that I just described in terms of that big audience, it could be that Facebook latches onto an audience that's renters. And all of a sudden now you see all these renters filling out your ads. So what do? You take that campaign, you pause it. You can literally take that same campaign, duplicate it, and then now it'll start going after a brand new audience. Now the no contact can be affected a couple different ways. Number one is, the easiest way to improve the contact rate is going to be by increasing friction in the process so that only the truly most interested people are the ones that are filling out the form. So how do you increase friction? You increase friction by introducing a landing page. So if you're using a lead form, then instead of using a lead form, you're going to bring them to a landing page, because now they're going to click on the ad and they're going to go to an external page, which now causes more friction, right? Now they have to really think, I got to go to that next step and fill that out. The other thing you could do is, a landing page, typically standard landing page is just going to have your basic fields, meaning your name, phone number, email, maybe reason why they're looking to sell, but just a few fields. The other thing you could do is on the landing page is you could add what's called a quiz funnel, where you're going to ask a more thorough series of questions, which then continue to increase friction. You're always better off starting with less friction But if you find that, hey, I'm really getting a lot of people that are filling out the form and I'm not able to reach, then that's one way of doing it. Also making sure that on your lead form that you also have enough questions, right? So we ask a variety of different questions on the lead form to make sure that we are creating some friction there in the lead form. On the lead form, the last thing you want to do is ask for just simply name and phone number, because you're going to get a lot of cheap leads, but you're not going to be able to get a hold of anybody. Now, Facebook does have a new feature where on the lead form, you can ask them to verify their phone number. So the way that works is that they'll go ahead and they're going to be sent a text message for them to grab a code and enter that code, and then for them to proceed with finally submitting their form. So those are all things that you could add for friction. Now, the last thing I would recommend for contact rate is you have to keep in mind is that these people may be they may be receiving messages and or seeing ads from other people as well. So the other thing you could do is to develop a KLT, know, like, and trust. So the easiest thing that you can do with this is when you're reaching out to someone and you're sending them a text message, include in that text message something that allows them to get a feel for who you are. So how do you do that? Well, you can include a photo. I have a friend of mine that includes a photo of him kneeling by his dog, and he says, hey, by the way, like, for example, this is Chris, and thank you for submitting your information. I'll be calling you shortly to just get a few more details, and I look forward to having a conversation with you and see how we can help. But then now that seller is looking and now connecting, oh, that's Craig, or that's Chris. And then oh, look, he has a dog, looks like a nice guy, doesn't look like a serial killer. And now that increases your chances. The other thing you could do is you could do a Loom video. Loom is, have you seen it many times? You've probably seen it from me where you get a video of me sharing the screen, but you can install that app on your phone and then do a video on Loom that'll generate a link that then you can send to the prospect and say, hey, by the way, I just want to introduce myself. We have something on one of our landing pages where somebody submits a form, and let's say if Gene on the team is the one that's going to be reaching out to them, Gene will be right there on the landing page and say, hey, this is Gene. Just wanted to introduce myself. I'm going to be reaching out to you and getting back to you about your property, and I look forward to helping you, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's another way that you can, that's something else that you can do in order to increase your contact rate with these leads. So again, with Facebook ads, it's a combination. It's never, I always say this, with any marketing method, it's never one thing. It's always a combination of things that make the difference. So again, here, this particular client is having an issue here that then we're going to help him work through them in an effort to get better leads. Now, one thing he did start to implement is my system, the new way of building out campaigns based on Facebook's new Andromeda system. So if you're interested in knowing that, then click the video here that pops up here, and that video is going to walk you through some additional things you should consider when running Facebook ads for motivated sellers.